All right, I've been asked over and over this whole week, what have you and Nick done in terms of his midsection? What have you done to improve his look of his midsection? And I want to give you guys the honest truth of this. And it really started with, as soon as we started working together 2 years ago, my focus and my emphasis with him was all about improving his digestion. I truly believe in my heart of hearts that a lot of gut issues, gut control issues, comes down to how you're absorbing and digesting nutrients. So we looked through what he was eating. There's some common things that he was eating that we initially pulled out, egg whites being a big one of those. He also doesn't do well on fish. Pulled those two things out of the equation, and then it's just been a continuous progress since that point. And those of you guys that saw him last year at USA's, I think that we have improved on his waist since USA's, but what I think you also might not be taking into consideration is he's also added more muscle tissue to his shoulders, to his back, to his quads, which also is going to help that ratio out a lot. So I'm not going to sit here and say that we've done magic. A lot of it has been just overall improving communication between Nick and I, which I think is absolutely crucial at this level. Doing those little things, addressing digestion, using specific supplements to enhance digestion. And the two things that we use, I've talked about this before. There's a product called Endorphin from Metagenics. It's an overall gut restoration product. I highly, highly recommend it. Also, for a lot of bodybuilders, specifically physique athletes, we're typically deficient in magnesium, so we dose some magnesium. I like to use a product called Natural Calm. You guys can use multi-minerals. You guys can use a specific magnesium source. But magnesium is something that an athlete's typically lacking in. So when I go through my thought process of how to improve digestion, how to improve waist control, the first thing that I do are removing foods that typically cause an inflammation or inflamed gut, and then from there, once those are reduced and pulled out, then we might need some further aids to just help gut restoration overall. And then honestly, another thing, especially with bodybuilders, is just being more aware of how you're holding and controlling your midsection through the day. When you sit down, are you just letting it hang out? When you're training, are you using your core to stabilize, or are you letting it hang out? Are you working on your transverse abdominal muscles? Are you doing these little things? Are you doing plank movements and stabilization movements that are going to really address and be able to allow you to pull your midsection in? Those are all very, very important things. So what Nick and I have done have been a continued gradual process over the past 2 years. The last thing I want to talk about are waist trainers. We did utilize a waist trainer. I believe he used a Paragon waist trainer, which is Santi's company. So if you're looking for one of those, I would recommend that. What I don't recommend with waist trainers is I personally don't believe that you should be training in them. I think that we want to use and have our core engaged for training as it should be to stabilize, and not using something that can kind of restrict that process. But with Nick, what we did is just kind of progressively, we used the waist trainer a little bit of time for cardio in between meals. I also don't like to use a waist trainer to restrict digestion, so we used it in between meals, and then we just kind of progressively increased his time in between meals leading up to the show. And honestly, what I think a waist trainer does more than anything else is gives your brain and your mind a signal that, okay, I need to pull my waist in because this is uncomfortable if I'm just fully relaxing and pushing out against the waist belt. So that's what we did. Again, I want to give credit to Nick because a lot of the progress that he made came from putting on more muscle and then just being aware of his flaws, constantly being aware and improving on his flaws, which he's so driven to do. So that's what we did. If this helps you guys, great. If you have further questions, please just ask below and I'll be happy to answer those as well.